I'm going to be making you some Costa Rican coffee from Suarez Farm, and I'm going to be brewing it on syphon for you. It's a lot lighter than what you're normally used to on our French press at the cafes, but you get a lot more flavor out of it by sacrificing that body. We're going to start by getting some water. It's about 12 to 16 ounces of water, and we're going to heat it on our halogen bar here. It's an extremely hot light underneath the coffee. And we'll place the top chamber on without sealing it right away. So all of the heat comes from this light at the bottom, and you'll see the bubbles begin to rise slowly. It's extremely, extremely hot, but when we actually brew the coffee, it will all be in the top chamber. So the coffee is very far away from the heat source, and it never tastes burnt. It still remains this kind of sweet, juicy consistency, which is really good. Let it sit for a little while. Yeah. So another thing about tasting is that when something is very hot, all your taste buds will register is that there's something hot in your mouth. So especially with the syphon, as it cools down, more and more flavors will come out of it. And with a good cup of coffee, you'll notice your cup tasting better and better as you get to the end. The bad cup of coffee, you'll taste all of the imperfections and flaws. That makes sense. So right now we're ready for the next step of the syphon. You can see that the bubbles are boiling, which means if I put the top chamber upright, there's there's rubber here that forms a seal. All of this air is so hot that it's expanding, which forces the water upwards into the top chamber. This is where I'm going to brew the coffee in a moment, and then when I remove it from the heat, it'll drop because there's nothing to keep this air expanded, and it'll rush through a very, very fine paper filter, which is one reason why you get more clarity out of the cup than with the French press, is because the filter is so much finer. I'm just going to lower the heat slightly, equalize the temperature in there. We're going to brew this for about 1 minute. A French press will brew for 4 minutes, but because this is so much hotter and I'm going to be manually agitating it, I don't have to let it sit for as long. There we go. And then with this tool, I'm just going to gently submerge all of the grinds so that you get an even extraction. Not really agitating it at this point, just making sure that everything comes into contact with the hot water. And the grinds up here that you can see is what we call the bloom of the coffee. The fresher the coffee is, the more gas it has. So the more gas it has, the bigger the bloom will be. You can see that this has quite a thick bloom. It's really fresh coffee. It's just roasted earlier this week. So it's going to taste really good. In about 10 seconds I'm going to remove it from the heat, and then that's what's going to cause the coffee to be sucked downwards through this filter. The hot air that's expanded here is what's keeping it up. As it falls, I'm going to scrape the sides once and then do about 5 swift agitations, and that'll bring out even more flavor. So here we go, loosen it up. As it falls, you'll see the grinds revealed at the bottom. Usually they're in a bit of a dome shape, and that sort of indicates the way that it was agitated, and a nice round dome means a good extraction most of the time. You'll also notice that all of the bubbles and gases that I was talking about earlier are starting to rise up from the bottom here. Alright, so there's a cup of Costa Rica Suarez on syphon for you.
Whoa, totally different flavor. It is a lot more like tea.
We usually talk about it in terms of it being tea-like, which you mentioned, or tasting the way that people taste wine or scotch. Thanks for watching. I'm Caitlin, and that was the Discovery Coffee Syphon at the Discovery Coffee in Oak Bay. Thanks for letting me make you coffee.
It's really good.
Yeah, you can have more. It's yours.
I really will.